Final Fantasy XI has hundreds of unique zones, each helping to bring Vana'diel to life with some of the best art direction I've seen in MMOs. Not all were flawless though, and in this video I'll be getting into the top 5 worst zones from the Rise of Zilart. So hey guys, it's Hunt for Games, bringing you a healthy mix of videos on new releases in MMOs, and nostalgia trips to the classics that made us fall in love with games in the first place. And with this nostalgic throwback, we're taking a look at some of the less desirable zones from the Rise of Zilart expansion. One of my absolute favorites, which is what made this list so hard to make, because I love this expansion a ton, and from my perspective, it's always kind of hard not to consider it a base part of the game. I mean, some of these areas are the most memorable in all of Vana'diel. But let's get right into the list. And we'll kick it off with number 5. Ifrit's Cauldron. Ifrit's Cauldron is a fantastically designed volcanic zone where you can practically feel the ash cloud hanging in the air and the poisonous gas continuing to escape through cracks in the surface. Dark tunnels open to expansive craters filled with bombs and wyverns and raptors, and lava flows permeate the zone. It's an incredible representation of what volcanic fantasy can be, and I spent more time in this zone than anyone should because of countless personal endeavors. Soloing bombs on Summoner, dangerous mining trips in an attempt to turn a profit, killing Thousand Eyes for optical hat pop items, hell, traveling to the zone's namesake itself, Ifrit, to earn my victory against the Trial by Fire. I bring all this up to start by saying it's not that I don't like the zone for what it is trying to do, and I actually enjoyed testing fate again and again by leveling and farming and everything here, but seriously, it is just awful. It's awful because it's littered with bombs that are magic and sight aggro and like to bob up and down in erratic motions that somehow always get just in range to catch you. It's also filled with some sound aggroing Thousand Eyes, scorpions, bats that seem to always sneak in from distant locations to ruin your day. Mining here was profitable because mining here was dangerous. 1 second a bomb is turned around, you can quick try to pickaxe away, next second he's right in your face, asking you how you have the audacity to hammer away at his home. And if that's not enough, it's also one of the most difficult to navigate zones in the game, at least in my opinion. Looping paths that cross in and over each other, one-way drops that put you on the wrong end of a huge zone-wide loop around the entire cauldron, vastly different entrance locations in Yatunga and Yoder Jungle that significantly change how you enter the cauldron and where you can go. It always kind of left me confused. I'm like, can I get to that spot from over here? How do I loop back around to the other side? Is that even really the other side? There's like 10 maps that you have to navigate. It's just a lot. And if all that wasn't enough, the flame spouts that would block your path for up to 20 minutes if you didn't have an ice cluster to trade, preventing entry to the glorious riches that lay beyond. And careful while you wait for that flame spout to go down or try to trade at that ice cluster, because a bomb loved to hang out right at the spout itself. And you can't tell if he's looking at you or looking away because all visibility beyond it was totally blocked by this huge wall of fire. So many times I was about to kill a bomb or finish a mining point, and I would suddenly find myself dead from like a self-destruct that seemingly shouldn't have gone on right when I got next to it, or randomly aggroing enemy that just kind of popped up out of nowhere. You think you're safe casting magic because you're behind one of the like craters that kind of blocked visibility in a game sense, and all of a sudden it sneaks a little bit to the left and it aggroes you. Oh my gosh. So many times did I get stuck waiting for the flame spout to die down, but honestly, it's what makes the zone so memorable, and the first time I managed to catch the volcano itself erupting, I was blown away. An endgame zone in the truest sense in the 75 days, while it fits my criteria for worst zones of Zilart, that's still pretty high up in terms of MMORPG zones in general. Love it for its Cauldron. Leading us to a bit more of a common frustration, number 4, the jungles. Like I did with Ifrit's Cauldron, let me just get this out of the way. Yatunga and Yoder Jungle are 2 of the most fun zones for camps in this game. I love the enemies they contain, I love the secret waterfalls and tunnels, and I think it was the first time I ever saw Saiyan in Final Fantasy XI. It's awesome. They both captured a tropical jungle experience perfectly while making it fantastical and just exude Final Fantasy personality. So why are they on the list of worst Zilart zones? Because of the damn maps. While some of the more recent zones have given them a run for their money, at the time of Zilart's release, these maps were without a doubt the most frustratingly useless for the purpose of actual navigation. Secret tunnels and one-way drops, paths that go underground only to loop in a direction that they weren't even pointing in originally, making it look like a path will lead you where you want to go, but instead it's a jack-of-all-nowhere path. Oh my god, anyone who navigates the jungles either does so by memory with the assistance of a map that's basically useless, or by guessing over and over again until they get it right. Now, once you've done it a million times, sure, everything's not so bad, but I still get lost going to certain places, and after 16 years with a map in my hands, that is absurd. Ugh, I hated those maps. Some of you might say, are bad maps really enough to get you on this list of worst zones in Final Fantasy XI's Rise of Zilart expansion? And I say yes, they were that bad. Leading us to number 3, the Hall of the Gods. Sure, many of you may be saying, dude, this is one of the coolest zones ever. The giant statues of Promethean and Altana, the entrance to the sky, the beautiful music, and sure, all of that's true. I was in awe when I first stepped foot in this zone, which is why I'm so frustrated. Why was this never used for anything more than the occasional important shit happening cutscene? It basically became a meeting room, one of the most important places in Vana'diel, with a physical embodiment of the struggle between Altana and Promethea, and nothing ever happens there. Now, I'm not saying it should be crawling with a bunch of crabs and crawlers because I like how pure and safe it is. It just had such a cool art design and such cool music. Some sort of fight that took place in the hall itself would have been so intense. Also, I remember being a little let down when I kept seeing this zone on my list of zones to eventually get to, and then I got there and I was like, wait, it's like 10 feet long. I guess most of all, I just wish there had been more reason to spend time here. It was truly majestic, and it always bothered me that it essentially turned into a hallway after having played for a while. And to be totally honest, I did struggle to come up with worse zones for Zilart. The expansion is freaking awesome, so we're moving on. Number 2, the Den of Rancor. You know how some zones you have a love-hate relationship with? This isn't one of them. I have a hate-hate relationship with this zone. Dark, underground, difficult to navigate, full of dangerous, paralyzing, and sleeping enemies. If you thought the Garledge Citadel holes were bad, you have not accidentally fallen down one of these pits of despair before. This area is just one long-ass gate to get to boss fights, like the Optical Hat spawned in M, Leviathan, weapon skill NMs. No one hung out here. It had this lingering sense of danger and frustration. I just started thinking about bad drop rates and thieves' knives and death over and over again whenever someone mentions Den of Rancor. When I say I have happy memories in some zones due to the struggles, the challenges that they face, or that the art design was perfect even though it made me frustrated personally as a person, I'm not talking about Den of Rancor. Screw this zone. Leading us to glorious number 1, a zone that needs no introduction. The Temple of Ugalef, which I'm pronouncing wrong because there's a little PIH at the end there, but I've always said it as a f sound. It's too late, I'm sorry, it's the Temple of Ugalef. So Temple Ug is a home to death, frustration, and a fruitless hunt for coffers. It's a land of keys that you don't have, NMs that you can't kill, and doors that force you to take off invisible right in front of multiple Tomberries. Tomberries, not just like, oh no, I got sight aggro from something, but Tomberries. Tomberries are one of the few enemies in Final Fantasy XI I'm still always afraid to fight, and also feel bad for killing. How can I explain it? Have you ever had a small number of consumable items in a video game, and you know if you use one, it's going to make your life that much harder in the future, so you never want to? Then you finally do, and it makes you feel a little icky inside because you realize you made it without doing that, and now you've wasted one of your consumables. That's my feeling inside every time I kill a Tonberry, because of everyone's grudge. Tonberries would be dangerous enough with Throat Stab, which always brings you down to like 10% health no matter what your level, strength, or raw force of will, but they also have everyone's grudge. Everyone's grudge does damage based on how many Tonberries you've killed since your last cleansing payment. That means every time you're hunting for coffer keys, or camping in an M, or just, have encountered some Tonberries that you had to make dead, you're building up their strength. As a summoner, I was always a little cavalier with this because it was rarely directed at me personally, more often at my avatar, so the damage would get to be in the thousands. If I ever went to Temple of Ugalef as anything other than my summoner, I was truly terrified because everything in there could one-shot me regardless of level. Now sure, there's a quest to reset Tonberry 8 and they forgive you and the grudge damage does go down. But I don't know, just knowing that Chore is out there and waiting is enough reason to be mildly ticked off. Yes, I've reset hate thousands of times and its damage continues to rise over the years. But like I said, fighting was almost unavoidable because there were so many stupid doors to get through and check behind, gates that you had to take down invisible to open. Prelate keys, Ugalef keys, so many damn keys to get to the deepest bowels, and that one annoying doll that guards the final room. It was just rough, and yet pretty awesome too. I mean, I always wish there were more reasons for me to get there besides artifact quests and notorious monsters. As a summoner and dragoon, I felt a strong connection to the zone, which is why it was always so hard to hate. It was beautifully designed as a crumbling structure from a past age, and to this day, I feel like it has secrets I haven't seen. But oh my god, so many deaths. So let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear your comments on these zones and whether other Zilart zones should have been replacing them on the list. I already regret Hall of the Gods, but if nothing else, we've got some awesome footage of the zone for the ages now, so that's kind of cool. question of the week. What Zilart zone have you spent the absolute least time in, whether by accident or because you couldn't stand it? Would love to hear about the distant corners of Vana'diel that everyone can't stand, so leave them down in the comments. Check out the Final Fantasy XI playlist if you're new to the channel for some more videos on this fantastic MMO, or some of the other playlists on other more recent games. Otherwise, I'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in more videos like this, think about subscribing. And if you already have, don't forget to click that little bell next to the sub button to get notified when new videos go live. Hit me up in the comments with your thoughts on this video, or come hang out and chat with me on Twitch every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And definitely look me up on Twitter or Instagram and Hunt for Games to keep up with what else I've got going on. See ya.